Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing the audio drama Slipback, which is on the season 22 box set. Now, this does star Colin Baker and Nicola Bryant as the Sixth Doctor and Perry, and I have to remember that it's not like a big finished audio adventure from like the 2000s or the 2010s. This actually is an audio story from 1985 while, or between seasons 22 and 23. And I liked it for the most part. It's like done in these 10-minute increments. So it's basically a six-parter with them being about 10 minutes apiece. And I liked it. It's written by Eric Sayward. I like the fact it has Valentine playing the captain in it. I like Valentine, the Black Guardian himself. He just has this voice, this like evil, conniving voice. It's this cool voice. I remember he's in an episode of Blackadder too, I think from the first season maybe, but I remember he's in an episode of that. But I absolutely love him in the Black Guardian. He's great in the Black Guardian trilogy. So it's nice hearing him back in Doctor Who, and again his voice is just on par as the captain. The captain's kind of weird. I have a little trouble with audio stories mentally picturing them sometimes. It's easier for me to do when I'm reading novels. So it's weird because the captain obviously isn't like human the way he can create diseases and stuff. He's obviously an alien, but I have trouble mentally figuring out what he is. And that's weird that he could create these diseases in them and then give them to everybody else. It's kind of an odd thing. But he does strike me as a very uncaring man who doesn't mind if he kills his old crew just because he thinks one of them slighted him. I was mixing characters up at a bit, like the Gunther guy, the one who's actually the guy stealing all the artwork, and then the actual engineers who were down there. A couple of them got killed at the beginning, like Wilson, and then the two guys who were the police, but they're not the police. They're just the like environmental inspectors. That was funny how they kept insisting they were just environmental inspectors. That's a little bit of humor in there. I can say I really like the cliffhangers because I listened to like parts 1 and 2. And then I took a break, and I came back just to listen to part 3 and 4, and ended up listening to the rest of it because the cliffhangers were so good. They kept wanting me to listen to the next one when they happen. That's always a good cliffhanger when it immediately makes you go, all right, I got to listen to the next one. So it did a good job with that for the cliffhangers. There was a couple times where the Doctor would be like, Perry, or ah, where it didn't quite sound like the Sixth Doctor because he usually doesn't get quite so high-pitched in voice when he's frenzied, but it is an audio, so he's having to make up for the lack of visuals, so I'll let that go, even though it struck me as a little odd. Other than that, the cliffhangers were really good and kept me engaged in the story. The computer's voice is very irksome. This is intentional, and it even talks about that in the story, but man, intentional or not, it's extremely irksome, and the whole her getting drunk from being in the Doctor's brain thing is kind of weird. I mean, it's cool because it has you sitting there going, why the heck is that happening? But it ultimately doesn't really go anywhere. And then finding out the person that's behind everything, so to speak, the one that he heard in his dream and who that is and how that connects with the ship and the rest of the story is a bit of a letdown. I didn't see it coming, but it was kind of a bit of a letdown. And then the whole thing with this story being responsible for the Big Bang puts it a bit at odds with Terminus, I believe, because Terminus is supposed to be how the Big Bang happened, the one engine in Terminus blowing up, and this feels like it contradicts that, unless, of course, this is the ship from Terminus, which I suppose is possible. I can't remember. Terminus is weird because about 2 days after you watch Terminus, Terminus becomes very foggy in your mind. It's just probably the most forgettable Doctor Who story ever made. It's not bad. I don't hate Terminus. It's just so forgettable. So the only way to have it fresh on your mind is to watch it immediately. And then have it fresh on your mind. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you could twist the canon and make that the ship from Terminus. But if not, then we have two different origins for the Big Bang. Although I suppose Slipback doesn't necessarily have to be canon. I believe John Glover was in this. I wonder if that's the same John Glover I'm familiar with. The one that's in like Smallville and stuff, and Gremlins 2, and several other things. I couldn't tell if that's the same actor or not, but it said John Glover. I was like, well, that's the same John Glover I'm thinking of. But I enjoyed it. The monster was cool. I like the monster at the beginning and how it just eats people. The sound effects for the monster was good. I like the little sound effects for the lasers when they shoot them. I like the robot, the one little utility droid that's talks all posh, like hello, sir. Kind of made me think of Marvin from Hitchhiker's Guide, although Marvin's more, all depressive. But the robot struck me as very emotional, and I will admit I enjoyed the robot a lot. So, yeah, I liked it. The Doctor kind of being overcome at one part by the person or thing responsible for what was going on. I didn't quite believe. I don't feel like the Doctor could get fooled quite so well. And the fact that the Doctor actually had the Time Lords have to pop up into his TARDIS and be like, Doctor, we need you to do nothing. Just don't do nothing. What's happening is supposed to happen. And that seemed a little anticlimactic. Overall, it was a fun listen. It's probably not something I'll listen to again for a while, but I did enjoy it. And I am someone who has trouble with the audios because I'm very, like most people, I like to see things. Human beings really are very sight-oriented, so I like to be able to see what's going on. So, for something that's just in audio, I liked it. It was worth the watch. I would recommend listening to it if you have the Season 22 box set. It is definitely worth the listen. I enjoy some of the humor, some of the writing. Colin and Nicola do a good job. The guest cast do a good job. And the cliffhangers are good. I really like the cliffhangers. They kept me engaged with the story. I found the ending of the story, again, a bit anticlimactic, but it's worth a listen. So, Slipback. Have you listened to it? Have you listened to it recently? What are your thoughts on Slipback? Comment down below and let me know. I always enjoy hearing back from you guys. Other things to do while I have you here. Go ahead and click that like button and that subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. That helps me out, helps me grow the channel. If you watch the channel regularly and haven't subscribed, why not go ahead and do that? It's free after all. Other things to do, I also have a Patreon. If you would like to support me on that, there's a link to that down in the description below. Everyone that joins at any tier level gets a free video request. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me, and a link to my Amazon wish list is down there as well. I update that regularly. Most importantly, though, well, one, I want to give a shout out to two of my top tier patrons, the Fifth Doctor and Stephen Crane, because I do appreciate their support, as I appreciate the support of all of my patrons, but also, thank you for watching.